Consent and children. We have MAKINI, we have MOUREEZE as a barrister at law. They're both representing CAFRA and CIWIL. All right, we were talking about general consent. We defined consent. We spoke about man, woman, but now let's speak about children and the possible source of why some grown-ups are afraid to say no. And we only have 10 minutes, 9 minutes to do so. So let's go straight into it.
So let me start with children. Teaching, when we deal with consent for children, we have to look at respect and boundaries.
Right.
That's two important things, because teaching children respect, not about respecting others, but respecting yourself. And boundaries in terms of not your boundaries only, but my boundaries too. As we say, my body, my rights. So if we in schools, they teach children about good touch and bad touch, but where they don't teach children sometimes is how good touch can turn into bad touch, and how to follow your intuition as a child to know that this is an inappropriate feeling, this is not right. And these simple things that we could teach our children, how to set boundaries and how to respect your own body and how to respect others, so that we can, as we say, we as men, they will be able to understand and deal with rejection the appropriate way. So teach your children that your body belongs to you. You get to decide about your own body. No one should touch you without your permission. And consent means choosing to respect other boundaries. These are things that we need to tell our children, that setting boundaries, boundaries are a person's right to choose what is comfortable for them. Teach children that to set limits on when and how their bodies are touched and by whom. So as a parent, I tell my daughter, good touch, bad touch, head, shoulder, yes. But I also tell my daughter that follow her intuition, follow her gut. Because I know as an adult, by socialization, there's so many things that change my gut feel that I take into consideration. But children at their purest level will feel that gut feeling and say, nah. For some reason, that child don't want to say hi to you or hug you or touch that, that person with. And we like, why you're being rude? If auntie says, come give me a hug, or uncle says, come give me a hug, I sit down on my lap, you hear the child say, no, I don't want to. But we force the child to do it because we say, that's rude,
And
that's
then we teach the child to negate their boundary.
Exactly. And that's wrong, because if my child says, I carry my child to a family gathering and my child says, I don't want to hug grandma right now, I will be like, okay, well, you could high five grandma, you could fist grandma, that's fine, you don't have to hug her. I would tell my daughter that, because I don't think I should force my daughter to do something, especially with her own physical body, that she don't feel like doing it for whatever reason. Now when we get home, I will ask her, no, why you didn't feel like hugging grandma today, and have a conversation with my child to see where it stemmed from. But I make sure not to push my daughter to do anything physically that she don't want to do, because children have their own rights. Children have rights, and they should be able to intelligently make a decision on who touches them and who comes in their physical space. Because let me tell you something, as this month is Child Abuse Awareness Month, most of the cases do not come from strangers. Most of the cases come from people they know, whether it be family friend or a friend of or a family member. So you need to be more aware and vigilant of how your child moves around a certain family member, a certain friend. If that child says, mommy, I don't like when, my cousin, I have to go up by my cousin and stay because it's summer, because we're approaching a long vacation about to come, right?
Right.
If your child says, I don't like going by auntie house, I don't like when cousin come over and babysit me, have conversation with your child to find out, why is this the situation? Don't talk down to the child when you're having that conversation. You got to make sure that the environment is comfortable for that child to express why.
You don't want to ask them in front of the person.
Exactly. Either you have to make
So
sure
they may
that
not tell you the truth.
Exactly. So these are important things, and these things can, be dealt with differently if we create scenarios for our kids. So there are certain scenarios that are very important when we're dealing with kids. And one is that a child is sad that their friend didn't want to sit next to them, right? You have to encourage a child to be okay and accept no. So I am sitting down next to you, but I don't want to sit down next to you. I want to, but you feel upset because you're like, why she don't want to sit down next to me? And you come, why you don't want to sit down next to me? And I say, because I just don't want to. It could be that the child is going through their own little thing, or the child just wants some alone space. You know, children do yoga and meditate so much now these days. The child just want a little peace. You know, child might be into 40, but you have to teach your child that it's okay to say, to accept no,
and it's okay to say no.
Rejection,
and how to deal with those hard feelings when you feel hurt because your friend at this moment don't feel like sitting down next to you.
And not engaging in perhaps a violent response. You might say,
Exactly.
boy, clouty boy, can't believe. You understand?
And you might,
Right.
as the child, you're not able to comprehend properly because nobody has ever taught you. So you would
Exactly.
you'd follow that person, you sit down next to the person, or you might start poking the person.
Or you pull them.
Because I
Yeah.
always tell my daughter have trouble with that because she is just she loves to have fun. So I usually tell her, so if just like how your sister will be nagging you should want to play, you get so upset because you don't want to play right now. You do the same thing to people. So how do you feel when your sister puts you in that situation? Is the same how your sister might feel if you put her in that situation. So you gotta think about how do you feel when you telling somebody no or not right now or I don't want to play when you really don't want to play.
And then you're teaching empathy.
Empathy, which is important because we forget that we were children and we once understood that. We did understand it at that time, but our parents probably thought that we were too young to understand it, right? But we know we understood it, right?
Could it be as well that as adults, you are now learning what might be causing triggers in your own personal life? Like
Well-
you cannot take rejection or you get like really attached to people and, learning all of these things and hearing these discussions, you're thinking back, wait a minute, it could be from my childhood. Wait a minute, I have a child. What am I teaching them? Wait a minute, light bulb.
Right, because now what we're trying to do, organizations like our organizations and other organizations, what we are trying to do is teach people how to unpack these things, teach people how to recognize these things, like it's okay to sit down with a counselor, and have these conversations. It's okay to sit down with you, form groups of like-minded persons
Support.
or persons who can who can encourage you. Or
It's okay
push
to
you.
attend the workshop.
Attend these workshops.
It's not a
whether
shameful
it's from
thing.
the government side, national mobilization, or it's from a CSO side, a non-profit organization. Attend these workshops and learn the tools that you need to unpack. Ignorance is a bliss, right? Because sometimes we be ignorant and then we argue back with persons who are taking the time to unpack these things, to use the tools to unpack it, and then we charge at them. But let's go back to children, right? And another scenario for children is if a teacher is in an elementary school classroom, there has been an increase in problems with students taking belongings from others without asking. You might address this behavior in a classroom by having a conversation about consent. In a classroom, we show respect and care for others. When we want to use something that belongs to someone else or someone else is currently using it, it is important to ask for their permission. If they say no, we need to listen to their answer. Even if it makes us feel sad or mad, we should not take it from them without their permission. You can always come to me if you need help asking for permission. So if you feel like you want this pencil, but the child said no, you could go to the teacher and ask the teacher, and the teacher is supposed to at this time say that, I don't think that MOUREEZE wants you to use her pencil, and that's okay. And my mom used to cut my behind if I came home with something that she did not give me to go to school. As much as we don't promote, hitting kids and what's not, but I could not take home things that was not mine. So if you see your child coming home with stuff that is not theirs, then you have to ask that child, how are you getting this?
Have a conversation.
Did you get permission to bring home Junior's tablet or Junior's pencil or Junior's book? These are the things that we need, and only when we address as a society, address these situations, then is when we can start the conversation or attempt to the step of re-socializing our society when it comes to consent as adults. You know, because you have to start from the child level.
All right. A question coming in here. Let me throw it out. This one is for MOUREEZE. If a woman forces herself on a man and has sex with him without his consent, is that indecent assault?
I think yes.
Yes.
It could be classed as indecent assault. It won't be classed as rape, like I said, because it's not contained within our criminal code in that manner.
Okay. All right. Voice note came in here. I did not listen to it, but let's play it.
Good morning, Extreme Family.
Morning.
So, why the age of consent is so young? Why is that?
All right, friend.
And you can't get an ID card at that age.
Uh-huh.
Why is the consent is so young?
Uh-huh. So let's think about who would have drafted these laws.
Yeah.
We would have had men drafting these laws, right?
Yeah, and not even
And
black men, right?
not-
So let's go like that. It
Not
was,
modern day men either,
Yeah.
you
Let
know.
me, let me just
let's put it like
pack
this.
up my bag here.
Let me put it like this. Laws were created in the absence of women by white colonizers who were creating laws to somehow oppress the future generation of us.
And that
And
is
to suit
why
themselves?
And to suit
why
themselves,
it's so
right?
important for us to update and
Yeah.
reform and
And
redraft.
2022, we begging
We
for.
can't be dragging these old things forward with us.
Okay,
But
then.
then sometimes we're held back. So for example, okay, if we were to include boogery as an aspect of rape, would that mean that we are now becoming tolerant of gay people? God forbid, right? We can't do that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot to think about.
And we need to realize that as a human rights activist, we need to, realize how important it is to forget about all these different things and look at the human person first when we're dealing with this,
Exactly.
regardless to what, lines, sexuality, lines that the person or if they're on the spectrum. It's a human we're dealing with. So if somebody, rapes or sexually assaults someone, it's the human you're looking at. You're not looking at who they identify as. You're looking at the fact that this person has violated, this person has discriminated this person, and it is wrong. At the essence of it is wrong and should have means and necessary avenues to address situations like this, So that's why when we know as individuals trying to revamp the laws, trying to change the laws, especially when it comes to sexual assault, there is so much friction because we are blurring the lines and forgetting that the fact that at the foundation of it is finding laws that protect human rights. It has nothing to do with one's sexuality in a sense. It has all to do with the human rights. How do I protect this person? Whoever the person is, how do we protect that person if that person's rights has been violated sexually?
All right, and with that, we're going to wrap things up right here on Extreme 104.3 FM. Thank you so much, MAKINI. Thank you very much, MOUREEZE. Thank you, Sam, for joining us this morning and having this important conversation. It will definitely not be the last. It's not the last, and it's something that you just have to continue talking about until there's no need to talk about it anymore. Even when you get to that point, you still got to talk about it, right?
Yes.
All right. Have a wonderful day. And with that, we're going to head on out. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Coming up next is The Equator with DJ Q and DJ Stump by. Tomorrow morning is Wednesday. Smack in the middle of the week. We're going to get some things off our chest, all right? So prepare yourselves for tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful day. We are out.
Hey, you! Who's ready to get wet and foamy? Richland Park, this one's for you as Extreme FM presents Wet and Foamy.
We don't making joke, no, we don't making joke.
It all goes down at the Richland Park Hard Court Sunday, May 1st, where there'll be multiple cannons of foam. Wet and foamy.
She like it wet, she like it wet.
Admission $20 before midnight with unbelievable drink specials all night long. Sound reinforcement by Platinum Sounds. You know that Extreme Dream Team will be shelling it live. Sunday, May 1st. Ladies, sort out your bikinis. Guys, get the swim trunks ready. It's going to be wet and foamy inside Richland Park Hard Court. Made possible by Extreme FM and Platinum Sounds.
Plug into Plus. With Digicel Plus, you get simply more speed to enjoy super fast fiber internet. Starting at 250 megabits per second up to 1 gigabyte. More reliability to surf, stream, and share with no interruptions. Plus, more power with a better Wi-Fi connection in every room for all your devices. Plug into Plus. Enjoy simply more with St. Vincent and the Grenadines' only home fiber internet.
Call 784-530-3884 today to find out if Digicel Plus home fiber is in your area.
Digicel Plus. Better together.
Get your essential Sunday dose of reggae with the General DJ Donovan from 3 to 6 p.m.
You're in your eyes and I see the tears. Love is what you're giving me throughout the years. Every time you need me.
Reggae Sundays on X104.3 FM. Every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
Bless me, mighty Jah, bless me, so that they can curse me. Bless me, mighty Jah, bless me.
3 solid hours of reggae music from conscious to hardcore and even lovers rock.
You're stepping out on your own. Got a heart made of stone. Such a cold, cold girl.
Reggae Sundays on X104.3 FM with the General DJ Donovan. Listen every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
Air filters, oil filters, fuel filters, disc pads and brake shoes, clutch disc, pressure plates, rotor plates, engine parts, fan belts, timing belts, oil seals, spark plugs, radiators, radiator hoses, water pumps, universal joints, suspension parts, KYB Japanese shocks for Toyota, Nissan and Suzuki, tie rods, rack ends, ball joints. You can also get accessories, cleaning supplies, polishes, tight